And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. So, my people, here we go with some more of the foolishness. I was checking out Gil's Arena late last night, and they were having a discussion about why Michael Jordan will not be replaced as the GOAT, or something to that effect. And amidst the conversation, Rashad McCants says that he got information from someone. I think back in 2005, he said, but we're going to check out the clip. But got information from someone. I think he said that they were playing a card game with LeBron James, and amidst the game, LeBron James said that he wants to make the other 23 disappear. He wants to erase the other 23. What a complete and ridiculous statement coming from someone who doesn't even have the drive, the competitiveness to do such a thing. But without further ado, let's get into this clip.
MJ. There's just, like, if you think about the 80s, there's just some people that it brings you back to happiness. Like, there's things in your life, when you think of it, it makes this a negative thought. Yeah. There's some things that when you think of it, you just naturally smile. That's just Jordan for people.
And look.
So that you're not even going to comprehend it.
But Jordan was beating all these motherfuckers, and they still just happy.
The competitiveness of Bron is this. And this comes from a high table source. Told me they had a conversation after the 2005 season playing Boo-Ray with Bron. A bunch of motherfuckers on the table. And Bron just happened to say some shit randomly. And I'm trying to make that other number 23 disappear. The guy who told me looked at everybody else at the table, said, "Good luck, young fella." Now here we are. What is happening right now? The other number 23 is trying to dissipate out the back window.
Yeah.
But you can't do that because...
Why?
Because it's your highness.
Why?
Your highness.
Why? See, I don't like that. You can't do that.
Your
highness. I can do that. Yes,
he's
I
the
can.
origin.
No, that's my goal in life. My goal in life. Michael Jordan.
When you got a creator who created it, you can never take his fingerprints off of the creation. He's the number one guy because he did it first. You can never get rid of him. Then you got a carbon copy.
What did he do first?
Then you got a carbon copy of him that come right behind him. Like, I'm just like you, but I'm 2.0.
What did he do first?
What did he do?
Yeah, first.
6 in a row?
No. It's not even about... No. It's not even that.
I'm just like...
How he did it.
In fact, Gilbert Arenas, absolutely right. How he did it. How he did it is the most important thing of all. But so, yeah, let's get into this ridiculousness, people. Let's get into this ridiculousness about LeBron James saying he wanted to erase the other number 23. First of all, number one, that couldn't have ever happened because, again, we discuss mindset on this channel all the time for a reason, because it starts there. Without the correct mindset, everything else is, everything comes from there. So if you don't start off with the right mindset, then you might as well hang it up. And so LeBron James, who he is at the core, just never had it in him. That's first and foremost. But let's get into some other things. Number one, or number two, LeBron James choosing to wear number 23 was the worst decision he could have made for his career. And I want to say something to you fanboys. You fanboys are always upset talking about, why every time you talk about LeBron, you got to talk about Michael Jordan. And first of all, you guys never say that about Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp, who every time they talk about LeBron, they got to bring up Michael Jordan. Anytime LeBron comes up with Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp, they always have to bring up Michael Jordan. I don't hear you guys saying anything about them. That's because, they busy being part of the 4 and 6 kingdom. But again, the reason that this happens, though, is because this started when LeBron James chose to wear the number 23. He forever cursed his career. He forever cursed himself to be compared to Michael Jordan in every way possible. And the most ridiculous thing is that he tries to pretend as if he wants to be a different player than Michael Jordan. But let me go ahead and say this. The only reason LeBron James has went down this other path of, LeBron is the better all-around player. Oh, I like to pass and blah, 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 blah. And the only reason he went down that path is because he knew that the path to actually being Michael Jordan took a lot more work than he was willing to put in. Let's go ahead and say that. LeBron James would have to work on every aspect of his game to actually be like Michael Jordan. So what he did was he stopped trying to be like Michael Jordan on the court, and he tried to be like him in every other way that had nothing to do with basketball. From the powder toss to the wearing number 23 to Space Jam 2, he's trying to be like Mike in off the court stuff or things that don't have anything to do with basketball. Things that don't require him putting in more work than he's willing to put in. So yeah, that's number one. Wearing number 23 was the worst mistake LeBron James could have made. He should have picked another number, and I guarantee had LeBron James simply picked another number, at the very least he would be getting less criticism. Now he would still be getting plenty because of who he is and how he carries himself, and he doesn't play basketball with integrity, and real basketball fans are gonna notice this and they're gonna have criticism about it. But he would be getting less had he not worn a number 23, had he chosen a unique number for himself to try to make a name for. But wearing 23, yeah, he was already off to a failing start. The second thing that LeBron James will never be able to compare so that he can accomplish his goal in erasing Michael Jordan is LeBron James' story is not as good as Michael Jordan. And it's for this very simple reason. The reason that we all talk about all the time is because LeBron James, his story is not about overcoming. And again, like I said the other day, yeah, you can give LeBron James credit for making it to the NBA. But once he got to the NBA, LeBron James has spent his career, since he left Cleveland, he has spent his career taking shortcuts. That the moment he opened that door by leaving Cleveland and leaving Cleveland in such a ridiculous way, leaving Cleveland in such a disrespectful way, and having that whole press conference where he made the decision and whatnot, once he opened that door, it was all downhill from there. Once he opened that door, he opened the door to shortcuts. He opened the door to entitlement, because this is when the non-stop excuses for LeBron started happening. Once LeBron left Cleveland, then every time he couldn't win, it was never his fault. It was his teammates' fault. It was his even before he left Cleveland, but it was it was his teammates' fault. It was the coach's fault. It was the broken hand that you didn't know he was playing with. And the flopping and all this stuff. He just opened the door once he left Cleveland that first time. But again, all of this is because of how he came into the league. He came into the league very entitled because the NBA wanted so desperately to have another superstar like that. So the NBA handed LeBron James everything, and instead of being humble, because it's all about perspective. Again, here's the thing. LeBron James came into the NBA with a lot of hype for 18. That is a fact. But Michael Jordan, coming out of college, he had a lot of hype as well, and he had a lot of doubters as well, because there were people saying before Michael Jordan played one game in the NBA that he was the best player that they've ever seen. But again, back then the conventional wisdom was, hey, you needed a big man to win championships, and everybody said, hey, Michael Jordan can't do that. I don't care how good he is. You cannot build around a shooting guard to win championships. And so Michael Jordan came in with a lot of expectations and a lot of doubters as well. But the difference was perspective. is when, again, we talk about this, when someone compliments you, the proper response is to say, thanks for the compliment. But if you are humble, you should know where you are. You shouldn't let that compliment go to your head and make it think that you're better than you are. But this is the difference. LeBron James did that. He came in at 18 and he bought into the hype that people were saying about him. He bought into the chosen one and all of that. Michael Jordan came in and he said, hey, I got to start from the bottom and work my way up. And it's a different, not only is it a different in mentality, but it's also a different in what makes somebody tick. And here's the thing, fanboys. This is what you and your king don't understand. Is the thing that made Michael Jordan tick is overcoming stuff. This is the difference. This overcoming challenges is the very thing that made Michael Jordan tick. So he was actually looking for the challenge in everything that he did. Remember, when Michael Jordan, whenever he talked about retirement, before the first retirement and after the second retirement, both times what he was basically saying is, if I get to the point to where I don't feel challenged, I'm gonna retire. If I get to the point to where I don't feel challenged, I'm gonna retire. So this is what Michael Jordan thrived off of, is looking for those things, is overcoming challenges. LeBron James, he doesn't thrive off overcoming challenges. LeBron James thrives off finding a shortcut around challenges. It's two different mindsets. LeBron James thrives off of the praise. It's two different mindsets. So they were similar situations. Yeah, LeBron James was younger coming in. But again, if you're just talking about the situation they came to, was very similar. Both of them had hype. Both of them had doubters, except one embraced this chosen one BS, and the other said, hey, I got to start from the bottom and work my way up. And again, because it's the two different things that makes these players tick. Praise makes LeBron tick. Challenge, competition makes Michael Jordan tick. So yeah, LeBron James will never have as great a story of overcoming challenges. Michael Jordan overcame challenges during the early part of his career, and he showed that he learned a lot from those challenges, made it to the top of the mountain, and ran a whole decade, had a whole decade of dominance. Your king, fanboys, has never, again, and this is when I talk about dominance, you know, again, this is why I say the Lakers were more dominant than the Spurs. Because the Spurs championships are more spread out. The Lakers got a 3-peat and a 2-peat. And of course, I'm talking about the Kobe Lakers. So to me, they are more dominant. LeBron James doesn't even have a 3-peat, and he's played on nothing but super teams. And his story hasn't been one of overcoming. His story has been one of jumping ship. That's not what makes great stories. It's not what makes great plots for movies. You know, it is not what makes greatness, period. Overcoming is what makes greatness. Sorry, fanboys. Next thing is LeBron James doesn't have a game that wows people, except you fanboys. And actually, you know what? To be fair, let me say this. LeBron James has had times where I thought he did some amazing things. But again, when we're talking about superstars, we're talking about the consistency at which you do them. Again, like I said, they want to say LeBron James is a great defender. I say no. LeBron James has made some great defensive plays in his career. But LeBron James is not a consistently great defender. There's a difference. Michael Jordan consistently delivered. Again, and they talked about this on Gil's Arena as well. How back then, when Chicago was playing, everybody dropped everything they did. You fanboys wouldn't know anything about that. I bet most of you fanboys probably don't even watch all of the Lakers games. You probably didn't watch all of the Cleveland games when LeBron was there. And you probably didn't watch all the Miami games when LeBron was there. But when Jordan In the 90s, whenever Jordan played, we could all be at the basketball court hooping. When Chicago played, time to go. You could be out at the bar. If the bar ain't got a TV, when Chicago played, it's time to go. You would get together, where in the city I live, we had a court that was open all night called Just for Feet. And they had a full-size outside court in the back of Just for Feet, which was actually a shoe store. And sometimes, after the game went off, even if it was a late game, then go off to 10, 11 o'clock at night, we'd get out and go play basketball to 4 in the morning. But Jordan made people watch because Jordan consistently, you felt like you didn't want to miss something. Like, if I don't watch this game, what am I going to miss? What kind of reverse layup? What game winner? What am I going to miss if I don't watch this? Like, I will be missing greatness in real time if I don't watch these games. LeBron James doesn't make you feel like that. He doesn't have the game to compare to Michael Jordan. He doesn't have the consistently great moments to compare to Michael Jordan. And on top of that, if we're just talking about skill, and we're just talking about from a skill perspective, but then just to talk about the aesthetics of his game, just doesn't. I mean, LeBron James is clumsy looking on the court. Clumsy looking, no fundamentals, horrible footwork. Sometimes when I look at LeBron James' movements on the basketball court, I just think to myself, it's amazing this guy got to where he got to. Like, cause he looks like he's gonna trip himself up a lot of times. Like he just looks clumsy out there. Definitely, probably should have been a football player or something. He already is a football player in the NBA. But anyway, yeah, he doesn't have the aesthetic game that's pleasing to watch, and he doesn't have the skill level of a Michael Jordan, and and the creativity and the artistry of a Michael Jordan that makes everybody want to watch the game. He doesn't have that. The other thing, he doesn't have the charisma of Michael Jordan as a superstar. LeBron James is just not likable. I mean, forget everything else. When LeBron James talks, he rarely says anything insightful. He's so self-absorbed. When you watch him in interviews, again, I just did a reaction to a Michael Jordan press conference. I believe it was, I think it was after the 97 finals, maybe. No, or maybe it was the 96 finals. But anyway, I did a reaction to the whole press conference. And after the press conference, people gave Michael Jordan a standing ovation and applause after a press conference. When have we seen that happen for LeBron James? But that's because Michael Jordan had charisma. Michael Jordan took the time to give genuine answers to the reporters. Michael Jordan understood that, hey, this is part. Today's players treat those press conferences like it's a chore. Like they would rather be anywhere else than answering these questions. But players back then, and not just Michael Jordan, but like I said, Michael Jordan was particularly charismatic. But players back then, period, understood that, hey, these press conferences is part of why I get paid. Answering the questions of the reporters, answering questions so that the fans can get some insight to things. Like the players back then understood that. But LeBron James has nowhere near the charisma of a Michael Jordan. He doesn't have the likability of a Michael Jordan as a superstar. Next thing, and this goes back to the shortcuts, but LeBron James doesn't have the competitiveness of a Michael Jordan. He is not that same kind of competitor. Like LeBron James is actually, after hearing that statement from Rashad McCants, like that's on some like stalker kind of sick fixation where you want to purge, you want to purge the thing that you're fixated on. It's like, he wishes he was MJ, but he doesn't have any of the attributes that makes MJ MJ. So he wants to try to erase MJ by other means with this media onslaught and Clutch Sports, trying to put pressure on everybody. And you can't say anything about LeBron anywhere in mainstream media, on social media, without the ridiculous fanboys and coming out to try to chastise you, or coming out to cry and complain that you had something negative to say about their king. But this is the route that LeBron James has chosen to try to be the GOAT, and it's really ridiculous. Again, but this shows you that it's not really about. He doesn't want to actually be as good as Michael Jordan. He just wants people to say he's as good as Michael Jordan, for his own ego, for his own self-gratification. Again, we just did a video with him dissing a kid in Paris. So he disses the kid, and then he's dancing on the way in the club. He snaps a picture with somebody else. He stops to talk to somebody else. So, but why did he do that? Because at the point where he was getting into the club, it was about the praise. It's because he started dancing and people started cheering and saying, this is what LeBron lives for, is that praise. So, this is the method that LeBron James has chosen to try to accomplish some kind of GOAT status. But he didn't try to do it by just working as hard as Kobe Bryant. Another thing that he cannot compare to Michael Jordan, why he was never able to erase Michael Jordan, he doesn't have the dominance of Michael Jordan. Again, LeBron James, all these super teams, he only has 1 2-peat. He won, was it 2012 and 13, 3 years in between that, and then he got lucky in 2016, and then 4 years in between that with the pandemic, because he got lucky again there because the Lakers got to rest. And I know everybody wants to say, oh, but everybody got to rest. But who benefited from that rest more? The aging player and the player who stays injured all the time? Yes, I believe they benefited the most from that rest. But yeah, so all his championships are spread out. And not only are they spread out, but like I said, they're a result of super teams. And so, yeah, he hasn't actually dominated. Making it to the finals is not dominating. And I don't care what you fanboys say. There is nobody on the face of this earth that can approach me and tell me that making it to the finals counts as being dominant. Especially when you keep losing the finals over and over again. Again, to me, when you are losing the finals that many times, what that tells me is it's something mentally not there for you. You are not able to maintain that mental toughness, and people want to keep talking about the teams. Well, guess what? Building greatness takes consistency, and part of that consistency is staying on one team. LeBron James, hey, if you were going to go to Miami, you should have stayed there. You should have stayed there. Because that's the only, and you stay there through injuries, you stay there through it all. Because that's the only way you build real chemistry and trust between the players that are there. Again, we're talking about the 1998 finals when Scottie Pippen had to be a decoy because he had back problems. Well, Dwayne Wade was, getting injured, but Dwayne Wade was declining, but they could have found a way to make that work, even if it was a lesser role for Dwayne Wade, or even if Dwayne Wade had to be some sort of decoy. You find a way to make it work. But when you stay and you develop something that you cannot get from team hopping. You build something that you cannot get from team hopping. Every time you go to a new team, it is starting over. Every time you have players shipped out and brought in, you are starting over. So yeah, LeBron James has not had a period of dominance. I'm sorry, fanboys, I know it hurts to hear, but this is just the facts. If in your mind it makes you feel good to think that LeBron James is dominant, well, you're already delusional. So by all means, stay in your delusion. But you are aware that you are willfully staying in your delusion. Making it to the finals is not being dominant. Winning the finals, that's being dominant. And what's actually being dominant is winning the finals in a finite amount of time. And in a time period that's close together to where you could say, oh, every other year I was winning the championship. Or in the case of Michael Jordan, I won 3 years in a row, retired, came back, and won 3 more. That's dominance. LeBron James hasn't had that. And then last but not least, while he will never succeed in eclipsing Michael Jordan or erasing Michael Jordan, it's because LeBron James is not an alpha. Michael Jordan is the alpha of alphas. He is the alpha of alphas. LeBron James is nothing close. LeBron James is appointed alpha. LeBron James is only an alpha by designation because the NBA said, hey, we want you to be the face of the league. LeBron James thrives off of praise. He wants the praise. So LeBron James, is a pseudo alpha. He's been put in that position. But LeBron James is an alpha until an alpha shows up. Michael Jordan is an actual alpha. When Michael Jordan is in a room full of alpha, all eyes are on him. Case in point, I was watching some kind of interview, and I can't remember who all was in this room, but I know it was Michael Jordan. I think it was Serena Williams. Roy Jones Jr. was in there. I believe Warren Sapp. And was it Derek Jeter in the room? Anyway, I can't remember the last person. But when Michael Jordan talked, everybody was listening. All eyes were on Michael Jordan. Like you could tell without a doubt, if anyone walked into that room and didn't know any of those people, everyone would know who the top dog was. If a stranger walked in who had been under a rock their whole life and didn't know any of them, didn't know Michael Jordan or Roy Jones or Warren Sapp or the other, I think it was Derek Jeter maybe. I had to go back and look. But if a stranger walked into that room and didn't know any of them, just by the respect that Michael Jordan commanded, they would know who the top dog was. If it was a question on the test, who's the alpha in this room, nobody would get it wrong. So yeah, LeBron James just doesn't have that. But anyway, we gonna hold up here. I thought that was a very interesting thing that Rashad McCants revealed. That according to him, a high source said that they were, I think playing cards with LeBron, and LeBron says he wants to make the other 23 disappear, or he wants to erase the other 23, whatever it was. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about that statement? What do you think? Like I said, to me, that's more of a stalker kind of mentality. That's more of the purge of fixation kind of mentality. But let me know what you guys think about that statement. You all have a truly, truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.